We got to, of course, start off with the guy who is. Listen, I'll call it this way: if it wasn't for positional value, he'd probably be the number one pick in the draft. Point blank. I do think he's that good, and that's Mason Graham coming out of Michigan here. And guys, this is a guy who he's big. He's 6'3", 320 pounds, 21 years old, from Mission Viejo. Am I saying that right, James? You're from
I'm from the Bay Area in California, but it's Mission Viejo.
Mission Viejo. I remember that you were from Cali there. I'm like, he can help with that. That's why we had James on here, specifically to help us with the pronunciation of California terms. This past year, 12 games, 45 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, 1 pass deflected. Freshman All-American in 22, second team All-American, first team All-Big Ten in 23. This past year, unanimous All-American, first team All-Big Ten, Rose Bowl defensive NP. Point blank, I'm telling you, this is I'm telling you, my number one prospect, if it wasn't for positional value. Not to bring up Saquon on the Giants podcast, but it's kind of like that. Like, Saquon was the best talent coming out of that draft that year, point blank.
Right.
The question was, you don't take him at 2, he's a running back. This is the best talent probably in this draft, but he's a defensive tackle. That's not a position you typically see in the top 5. James, what do you think of him?
I love Graham. I love the way they played in Michigan this year up front. I mean, I know they fell off, but if you go back even to that national championship year and what he was able to do and how they got after it, one thing that I believe that happens so much, and I find myself falling into this trap now that I feel like I talk about football more as trying to spread knowledge of players that's out there opposed to the game itself sometimes from, within the locker room. The defensive end position gets so much more value put on it, I think, by a lot of draft analysts, and the tackle can often get overlooked because a couple of years ago, you would have thought that Aiden Hutchinson and then the other defensive end who ended up tearing up the knee that got drafted late that was also projected to be a first round out of Michigan, you would have thought those are the only guys that play defense on that line. And then later on, you look at film and you see Graham, and then you see what I think that kid's name is Grant, who's also projected to be like a top 3 round defensive tackle as well. And you watch these guys play and you break the film down. I love a guy that can be versatile. Like, I believe Graham can play in a 4-3 scheme or even a 3-4 scheme.
Mm-hmm.
When you want those bigger guys that you can slide out from that 3 technique or even from that 1 or 0 technique. Out to that 4-eye, which is just the inside shade of the offensive tackle because you got the stand-up guy on the other side of him. I believe Graham can do both of those things. He can do, he can play up along that line however you need him. He's not going to have to really stand up and put his hand up to get after the quarterback, which is good because he's better with that hand down in the dirt, honkering down. And then if you do put him in that 3-4 defense, he can help set the edge sometimes when you get that line stand-up guy blitzing. And that's hard to find because so often we talk about pass rush. Then later on, it's like, no, they can't set the edge. It's like you can't have it both ways all the time, depending on what that guy's skill set is and what he has available and what we like to call his toolbox. What tools does he bring out of his toolbox and have available to him when he's playing? And Graham has a pretty big toolbox. Pause.
And it's weird because I feel like this is that player that you don't even look at the stat lines. And I know I'm giving stats here because we always do give stats, obviously. That's what everybody likes to look at here. You almost don't even want to look at the stat sheet because it doesn't tell you point blank what this guy does. I mean, teams really were avoiding him in the run game. That's how good of a run stopper. It was kind of like you see him at the line. Where is he? Okay, we're not running there. Like, it was that kind of effect to him on that defensive line. He's got a great anchor. He's a disruptor. He's powerful. And weirdly enough, his swim move. Like, you would think a guy like this, 320 pounds, this would be the bull rusher kind of tackle.
Right.
He's got a swim move. Like, it's pretty damn impressive here. Now, I've seen him even in games collapse the pocket when he's being double teamed. I mean, I love seeing that because I always say, you get the jump going from obviously college to NFL. I don't want to see you do good. I want to see you dominate because you're going against the next level of opponents that every single one you're going to play against on Sunday was a star at their college.
Yeah. Did you see his USC game?
Yeah.
At all? Did you have a chance to watch that film? That's one of the films that I saw that kind of made me go, wait, hold up. Because USC at the time, their starting guard, he left and went in the portal. He's at Oregon, but the center's going into the draft. He's one of the top rated offensive linemen. And I think the other guard. So to watch what he did against that offensive, now we know USC didn't have the best year this year, but they still got a lot of big name guys along, amongst that offensive line that graded well enough that's supposed to have NFL grades. And to watch Graham do it in that game, that was just one of them. And then someone told me, look at the Penn State game. And I was just like, okay. You go through and you just look at different games and dissect it, but to watch how he picked apart and play, and like you said, the swim move, which he can hunker down and bull when he needs to. And when people go to set on the bull, it's like slip right to that move and he's off in that backfield disrupting stuff. And that's what you want to see, because so often you get defensive linemen that's one-dimensional. Like he plays the run, he plugs holes well, he's very powerful, he can put pressure on the quarterback and close the pocket. But then they also talk about, he's got to work on escapability and hands and still be able to get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
He can do all of that. So like you said, that's what's going to make him a great pickup for someone in this draft, especially because everyone's focused so much on, I think, wide receiver, DB, because how heavy it is, to where teams that really need certain positions should be able to find the defensive tackle they want in this draft.
Yeah. And the versatility is what I love about him. You mentioned there as well, but especially for the Giants, because you can spell Dexter Lawrence, you can move him into nose tackle for a player or two to spell him. You can put him back out to the end of the 3-4 position there, and I think he does it well. Now, as far as the only knocks on you see him on, he does have shorter arms. That is going to be a somewhat of an issue. But listen, guys, that's not a killer. That's not like, oh my God, his arms are a little shorter. It's not like a T-Rex running out there in a football uniform, guys. It's not a couple inches shorter. People overcome that kind of stuff. And also, we mentioned as far as the stats not being great, I do see a little bit of trouble finishing plays at time there. And it's kind of like somebody else plays cleanup because he made the move and somebody else kind of gets to finish it. We saw a lot of that Dexter Lawrence at Clemson, guys. Like point blank, that's what he was coming out. Remember, Dexter Lawrence, the knock on him was, he can't get to the quarterback.
Right.
He provides no pass rush whatsoever. Sometimes, listen, you get the right coach there. Andre Patterson for the Giants is a damn good defensive line coach, guys. Point blank. That's why they had him working on the edge position last year. He's a damn good position coach. If we trade back, and I've said this forever, if you don't like Shedeur, trade back, get a bunch of picks. I'm not a big Carter fan. The foot injury still scares the crap out of me. I think Hunter's overrated. I know people are going to get on me for that. I've said it before. I'll say it again. That Colorado didn't play anybody whatsoever. They played basically Pop Warner teams all year long. This is a guy that if you trade back a couple picks at that point, you can do a hell of a lot worse.
So your game for trading back, getting what you want. I mean, position of value. Need, I should say. Of value and adding more picks.
Especially because if you add picks for next year, because if you trade back, let's be honest, you're not getting Ward, you're not getting Shedeur Sanders.
Right.
So at that point, why not get the extra pick for next year? Get a guy like the mid-round of quarterback, and if he falls, you get extra picks to move up in 26 if you need to.
Right, which the quarterback class is supposed to be better in 2016.
Supposedly, but they say that every year. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah. So Mason Graham, top 10 pick, I think he's going to be. Probably the latter end of the top 10 there. But listen, somebody could shock me and take him quickly and go, you know what? I recognize the talent. I don't give a damn about the position. I'm taking him. Point blank.
It would surprise me, but at the same time, it's one of those picks I don't think you can be mad at if it happens. It's like,
and if you are and you're a fan of that team, you won't be for long.
Right.
You'll see him playing.
Drew, I think one of the biggest problems for some fans are they go out. They know quarterbacks, receivers, DBs, maybe a running back. And so when there's a guy at a position that you're not really familiar with because you don't watch the games, in depth and in detail week in and week out, you're like, boo, that's a bad pick. And it's just like other people look at it like, no, that's not a bad pick. That's a great pick.
Oh, yeah. And there's so many things, like who are they playing with is part of it as well. Because that's one thing you could say about Mason Graham is he is playing next to Kenneth Grant. Obviously, they're helping each other out too as well.
Right.
You can definitely sit there and say that. They got two of the top three defensive tackles playing right next to each other. That's not crazy. Yeah. So, you definitely got that. But I think he's going to be an absolute stud. So.
If you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.